History often shapes the future, just as history certainly shaped Dr. Munyurazi Chimukangaras. He was born in rural Zimbabwe at a small mission hospital where his parents both work as nurses. After high school, he immigrated to the U.S. and continued his studies. Along the way, he's been blessed with his own family. As a family, they love the outdoors, and they've been fortunate this summer to get back to hiking and road trips after the long COVID quarantine. As a family, they also enjoy gardening. Dr. Chimunkangara's desire to practice medicine steadily increased as he matured, seeing the significant health needs and the extent disease affects lives and livelihoods. Through his upbringing and life experiences, he developed an extended capacity of empathy, a heart to restore health and hope, and a passion to advocate for others. He currently practices medicine as a minimally invasive surgeon here in the Twin Cities. As a surgeon dedicated to learning, skill, and excellence, more importantly, he is dedicated to integrity, service, and compassion. Medicine is his ministry. He desires to leave a legacy by being an inspiring person in their own history, starting with his own children and beyond. Dr. Carice Trandum was born and raised in the suburbs of Minneapolis, and she loved playing outside with her beloved sister as a child. Her mother, Leanne, taught her about the love of Jesus and the truths of the Bible. Her father, Vern, taught her all about biology and astronomy and instilled in her a love for God by sharing with her his amazing creation and creativity. After graduating from Bethel, Carice went on to a medical missions trip to West Africa with the Mercy Ships, after which time she made a decision to pursue becoming a surgeon in addition to her performing arts endeavors. Following residency, Dr. Trandum accepted an opportunity to practice medicine in rural northern Minnesota, and there also led worship at her church. Since then, she's moved to Naples, Florida to practice medicine and continue her international travel. Dr. Trandum loves to share God's love through both music and medicine with people around the world, and she emphasizes, "My life, music, and medicine would never be possible without God. My greatest desire is to grow more deeply in love with the Lord and share His love with everyone." John Griffith grew up with his family in Cottage Grove. As an avid sports fan, he grew up playing hockey, and at the age of 3, he learned to skate from his dad. John played hockey with the hopes of one day playing in the NHL. Later, with dreams of pro hockey in the rear view, John enrolled in classes at Colorado State University and obtained his bachelor's degree in business marketing. After meeting his wife, Cammie, he began his career in sales. In 2017, John decided to pursue his MBA at Bethel. One of the highlights of this program was being able to visit Dubai and Abu Dhabi as a part of the global management concentration of the program. A few months before graduating with his MBA at Bethel, he received a phone call from his dad that his dad had experienced a medical emergency requiring a cardiologist to use a stent to open the blockage to his heart. When John arrived at the hospital the day following his dad's surgery, his dad was all smiles. This was a light bulb moment for John, and he realized firsthand how life-changing these types of medical devices were, as well as the skill of these physicians. Later that year, John pursued an opportunity to work for Abbott Vascular with cardiologists who performed the same type of procedures as his dad. Outside of work, John's involvement in the Bethel Biz program at Bethel has been one of the most fulfilling things he's been a part of by helping to mentor undergraduate students thinking about pursuing a career in sales, and he gets to talk about his journey and experiences over the last decade. In his free time, John enjoys golfing, working out, and spending time with his wife and 2 boys, Bennett and Brooks. John is grateful for his experience at Bethel and the MBA program, as well as the professors who exceeded his expectations by offering him a challenging and rewarding environment to thrive in both personally and professionally. John would also like to thank his mentee, Ben Gibbous, who nominated him for this 4 Under 40 award. Andrew O'Reilly was raised in Lakeville, Minnesota. He grew up in a Christ-centered home, but Andrew would say that it wasn't until he came to Bethel that Andrew made his faith his own. Surrounded at Bethel by a community of believers and mentors that challenged him in his thinking and pushed him to grow deeper in his relationship with Christ, Bethel was also the place where he met his wife, Bethany. During his time at Bethel, Andrew went on a missions trip to Honduras and took classes that opened his eyes to the effects of sin and poverty in our world. After graduating Bethel in 2016, he started a job in the business world. He also volunteered with Urban Ventures in Young Life at Roosevelt High School in South Minneapolis, mentoring high school kids. This taught Andrew a lot about how to engage and share the love of Christ with others, and that the best way to serve is with listening ears and open hands. When the idea of Haven was presented by his wife, Bethany, God reminded him to keep his hands open and to be obedient. Andrew and his wife Bethany recently had a son named Weston and are excited to be continuing this ministry as a family. Bethany Substead O'Reilly was born and raised in Lakeville, Minnesota by two loving parents, Jay and Susie Substead, who met each other at Bethel. When she was 10 years old, her family moved to Honduras to do missions work in rural communities for 2 years. That experience gave Bethany a broader worldview and an awareness for God's heart for the poor. After returning to the United States, Bethany came to Bethel, where many of her relatives were alumni. She studied social work and Spanish at Bethel and also played lacrosse and worked on campus. During Bethany's sophomore year at Bethel, her father suddenly passed away. This quickly became the most difficult season of Bethany's life, but it also allowed her to lean on the Lord in a way she hadn't before. After graduation from Bethel, Bethany worked in Minneapolis at an organization providing safe temporary care for children whose parents were facing crises. Later, she worked in North Minneapolis, where Bethany was a case manager for women who had experienced homelessness. These experiences increased Bethany's awareness of the need for affordable housing in Minneapolis, as well as the need to incorporate Christ in efforts to address these issues. Andrew and Bethany were married in 2016, and in the first few years of marriage, they volunteered for Young Life in Minneapolis, where they lived. Many of the students they met through Young Life were also experiencing homelessness and poverty. Each of these experiences influenced the mission for the Haven and Bethany's desire to create a safe, stable environment for young adults to reach their full potential by being surrounded by a Christ-centered community like the one she was fortunate to have her whole life. Jenna Tater grew up in Becker, Minnesota with her 4 siblings and 2 parents, Julie and Todd. She took her first missions trip to Thunder Bay, Canada in 7th grade, where she helped serve at a homeless shelter. This was where she had her first encounter with the Holy Spirit and felt her heart begin to change for those in need. After coming to Bethel, Jenna majored in accounting and finance and minored in Spanish. She played basketball and later studied abroad in Guatemala. During her time in Guatemala, the Lord reawakened her heart for the underserved. She interned at an impoverished school in a small mountain community, and that's where her passion for youth was born. She fell in love with the people and culture and learned how a community could be materially poor, but spiritually rich. After graduating from Bethel in 2016, Jenna began her career in the financial services industry, working at Securian Financial in downtown St. Paul for 5 years. After her time there, Jenna moved to a position as a mortgage banker at Refine Lending in the Twin Cities area. She enjoys helping people and partnering alongside individuals to make sure their financial needs are met. Since graduating from Bethel, she's served as a Young Life leader and a basketball coach at Hope Academy High School in downtown Minneapolis. All these experiences played a large part in the conception of the Haven's mission and core values: to empower young people to meet their full potential by providing safe, affordable housing and Christ-centered community. Jenna believes the Haven can be a place where individuals can thrive, grow in relationship, experience true community, and achieve their goals. Jenna cannot wait to see how God moves in this mission, changing hearts and minds for His kingdom.